we've got a really fun game out in Arizona for the Rate Bowl as Rutgers takes on Kansas State. A dream matchup for my guy DM out there. But this is an interesting battle, guys. A battle between two teams that really fell short of their preseason expectations, but are now looking to finish the year on a high and carry some momentum into what is shaping up to be a big 2025 season for both programs. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today to break down this matchup, Big 10 and Big 12. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those expert picks, including that holiday special. Home of some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the country, and that holiday special giving you all of our bowl game spread picks and the rest of our NFL picks for the year, including the playoffs, for one very, very low price. We've never gone under 60% in our postseason bets, and we don't expect that to change now. So check that out. The link for that down in the description below. So Rutgers and Kansas State. Rutgers coming in at 7-5, Kansas State at 8-4. We said these was the battle between two teams. They kind of fell short of their preseason expectations. You know, Rutgers was a program that thought they could maybe, after how they ended last year especially, thought they could flirt with 8-9 wins maybe this year. And after the strong start they had at the beginning of the year, that looked to be the case, went through a midseason slump, and then finished the year relatively strong. Kansas State, on the other hand, they had Big 12 title aspirations. They had college football playoff aspirations, and really just beat themselves time and time again. 8-4, not a bad record by any means, but certainly could have been a lot better had they learned to take care of the football and, again, just not beat themselves. But we look at this game here. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball with Rutgers. And, I think it's safe to say their offense hasn't been the best in the world. It's definitely gotten better over the last month or so. They scored at least 26 points in each of their final 4 games and averaged nearly 28 points per game on the year. So that's not bad. But they're 72nd in the nation, averaging just 381 yards per game. They're 92nd in the nation in passing offense, averaging just 205 passing yards per game. And they're 48th in the nation in running the ball, averaging over 176 rushing yards per game. And that is the key number. That is the key statistic you're looking at if you're Rutgers, because they do have one of the best running backs, not just in the Big 10, but in the country, and Kyle Monangai. But question is, will he play? Right now, as of this filming, we don't know. And again, we're filming this a little bit earlier, so rumors are, he's probably leaning towards not playing, but he even said the jury's still out. We don't know. If he plays, Rutgers has a great chance. Monangai's rushed for over 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns on the year. But if not, their second leading rusher is Antoine Raymond, and he only has 344 yards on the year on 82 carries. For reference, Monangai has 256 carries on the year. So about triple the amount that Raymond would have. So obviously he's been the workhorse. He's been the workhorse each of the last 2 years. If Monangai doesn't play, someone in the running back core is going to have to step up. But more than anything, quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis is going to have to step up. He has been, I think, solid at the quarterback position. He has given stability to the quarterback position for Greg Schiano and Rutgers. Over 2,400 yards on the season, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, has rushed for over 230 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. So he's not the flashiest quarterback in the world. He's not the best quarterback in the world, but he's been consistent. He's had some flashes of brilliance. The question is, if the game is put all on his shoulders entering this game, if Monangai doesn't play and he has to do everything by himself, can he deliver? He has 6 games where he's been held to under 200 passing yards. He has 9 games where he has failed to hit 250 passing yards. Can he deliver in a game where he might have to throw a lot more than what's been expected of him throughout the course of the season? You look at Kansas State, on the other hand, 44th overall in total offense, averaging 417 yards per game. They are 18th in the nation in rushing. That's the key number there. So both these teams want to run the football, and the Wildcats average over 204 rushing yards per game, but they will. We already know they will be without star running back DJ Giddens. Rushed over 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns on the year, but he's going pro, going to the NFL draft, and he's opting out of this bowl game against Rutgers, at least at the reports that we've been reading. But luckily for them, they do have some depth there. First off, they've got their quarterback. They've got a dangerous dual-threat quarterback in Avery Johnson, who's not only thrown for over 2,500 yards on the year and 22 touchdowns, but is the number 2 rusher on the team with over 540 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. So he's a mobile quarterback in and of itself. He's a threat anytime he touches the ball, and he's touching the ball every single play. They also have Dylan Edwards as well, 350 rushing yards on the year, 3 touchdowns. Going to be a guy that probably gets a lot more carries and is called upon more than he has all year long because Giddens has been the number 1 guy. So Johnson and Edwards are going to be a dangerous duo to stop. Kansas State maintaining that RPO-style offense has worked so well for them over the last couple of years is going to be very, very important. Making sure Johnson remains a running threat in this game, making sure Edwards, you get him into open space. He's very shifty, so getting him into open space, that's going to be the key for Kansas State in this game. Johnson, on the other hand, if you find yourself in a game where you have to throw the ball, he hasn't been bad. He's got to take better care of the football, sure. He has 3 games where he's thrown at least 2 interceptions, so 3 double-digit interception or multi-interception games. But he did finish those final 2 games with 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So he certainly has improved a little bit over the last little bit of the year. So honestly, if you had to tell me right now, which quarterback would I take? Would I take Ethan Caliac-Manis or would I take Avery Johnson coming into this game? I'm taking Avery Johnson. If you go to the defensive side of the ball, this is where the game's going to be made. You've got Kansas State wanting to run the ball without their top rusher. Rutgers wanting to run the ball, probably going to be without their top rusher. And even if he does play, obviously a team that's going to be relatively one-dimensional, this is where the game is made, is on the defensive side of the ball. And you start with the Scarlet Knights, where their defense has been just okay. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been downright awful either. They're 80th in the country, giving up 381 yards per game. All right. 90th against the pass, 234 passing yards per game. Okay. 66 versus the run, 147 rushing yards per game. That doesn't sound that bad, but Rutgers has been torched time and time again on the ground. And that's the key. The Scarlet Knights will not have a defensive coordinator in this game. That's storyline number 1. Number 2 is Kansas State, we know, wants to run the ball. They have a top 20 rushing offense in the country. If Rutgers can't stop it, Kansas State's not going to stop running it down their throat. So can the Scarlet Knights find a way to slow down the run? They haven't shown that they can do that all year long. I mean, look at some of the numbers. They allowed 145 rushing yards to Howard back in the season opener, 183 to Virginia Tech, 310 in a blowout loss to Wisconsin, 182 in a close loss to Illinois. I mean, time and time again, this team has been beaten on the ground and has failed to stop the ground game and has resulted in either some very close games or just some bad losses across the board. This defense also only has 12 takeaways on the year. They only have 20 sacks on the year, so they're not great at creating pressure. They're not great at creating turnovers, and that's how you win games like this. It's not a true road game for either team, but winning a bowl game like this, ending the year with a little bit of momentum, you've got to find a way to create more opportunities for your offense, especially if your offense struggles to move the ball. So Schiano's a great defensive guy. He's a great defensive-minded coach. Is this going to be a game where he pulls something out of his hat, something up his sleeve that really rattles his Kansas State offense, maybe propels the Scarlet Knights to victory just like he did, last year in their bowl game? Take a look at Kansas State defensively, 38th in the nation, 338 rushing yards per game. That's all they're giving up. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But here's the key number. They're 21st in the nation against the run. They are a top 25 defense when it comes to stopping the run, and that is what Rutgers wants to do. Kansas State is only allowing 115 rushing yards per game. If that defensive line for Kansas State that's been so good for the majority of the year and typically is very strong under Chris Kleiman, period, a Chris Kleiman-led team is typically very strong defensively and really has been this year, I would say, despite the 8-4 record. If they bottle that up and they stop the run, whether Monangai plays or not, can Ethan Caliac-Manis come through and win the game by himself? Can he do it? I'm going to say no. Here are 2 major numbers I want to throw out at you. 2 things you need to keep in mind as you enter this Rate Bowl. Was it the day after Christmas? Number 1, Kansas State is 8-4. Yes, that's disappointing for them. Sure. Out of their 4 losses, they outgained their opponent in yardage in every single one. They outgained their opponent in all 4 of their losses. Every single one of them. And those losses were all relatively close. Their worst loss was probably, the Arizona State game? Worst loss in terms of margin was Arizona State? BYU destroyed them, sure. But what this tells me is that Kansas State is beating themselves. And that is true. In their 4 losses, Kansas State committed 10 turnovers. They committed 10 turnovers in their 4 losses. You want to know how many they committed in their 8 wins? 5. 10 turnovers in 4 games, 5 turnovers in 8. That is the storyline for Kansas State football this year. They are much better than that 8-4 record shows. If they had learned to take care of the ball, if they had learned to not beat themselves, this team probably would have been in the Big 12 championship, 1 win away from the college football playoff, and would have been a better bowl game than the Rate Bowl. So Kansas State, I have a lot of faith in. If they can take care of the ball, if they can hold onto the football and limit the mistakes that have plagued them all year long, they will win this game. And I think they can win it by at least a touchdown. So give me the Wildcats. I'm going to have faith in Avery Johnson. I'm going to have faith in Chris Kleiman to get the job done. Again, I like their defense a little bit more than Rutgers. I like their quarterback play a little bit more than Rutgers. I think this game can be fun. I think it's going to be exciting. And again, I have a lot of respect for both these coaches and both these programs, but I like the Wildcats just a little bit more. They get the win in the Rate Bowl and clinch a 9-win season for the 3rd year in a row. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those expert picks, home to those holiday specials. You do not want to miss out on that, guys. Go sign up and become a member of our GE Nation today. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.